In today's video, I will be talking about everything wrong with Type Soul. If you enjoyed, make sure to subscribe, since only about 20% of the people watching right now are actually subscribed. And also, I'm no longer washed at the game, so all the clips in this video are not only mine, but they're gonna be peak. So let's get into it. So I'm going to be going over everything that needs to be rebalanced per tree, and then I'll do all the Shikais, partial reses, and Schrifts. I really won't be talking about modes like full res, Segunda, and anything else like that, because they're meant to be OP, and probably should be touched minimally since they have like 30-minute cooldowns, and aren't really a large part of the game. And also for reference, I main 50 speed 15 Hakuda with Grimjow Claws and Sero Grab, and I have played every skill tree in the game with Arankar, so that is my perspective of this. Also, devs, leave some comments so I can see which of you are watching this. Let's start with Kido first of all. Kido is something everyone can agree to hate on, but since Kido is really only good in Arankar and kinda Quincy after the nerf, I kinda wanted to focus on Arankar here. But honestly, I don't know how Arankar can be changed for Kido, because I have literally never lost to a Kido Arankar because they're all so garbage. And ironically enough, Kido Quincy has also just been nerfed, so there's really not much to talk about now that Sanct Bogan is nerfed. Overall, I think Arankar and probably Soul Reaper Kido might need buffs, and Arankar Kido I've heard is good, but I have yet to see anyone play it effectively because everyone that uses Kido is so painfully bad at the game that I would never lose to them, and because of that I can't really talk about Kido in depth. Next is going to be Hakuda, and honestly Hakuda is just fundamentally broken as a whole. Blocking doesn't really work because most of the aerial combos keep you in place, so you're going to get guard broken, and you also can't shadow step or dodge out of most of the combos because if you're in the air against a Hakuda player, it forces you in front of them, so dodging away will just keep you there and you're gonna get hit by something else. And for some reason, most of the moves auto track, which is quite ironic for the fist style, which should probably have the smallest hitboxes. Overall, I do think Spine Run's aerial variant needs a bit of an adjustment, because the fact that you can block it, dodge away, and then when you dodge, it'll keep you in place for like 2 seconds to be hit by the next move, and the combo is just kind of dumb. And I think what really needs a nerf is the chain Quincy fist weapon that has been recently added. It needs a nerf on the chain pull. It ragdolls, which I don't think it should, because if you get hit by the first hit of it and they chain pull you, it's a free combo for them because they can just use one of their hyper armor free combo moves like aerial spine rend. Since you can't block or dodge away while ragdolled, you're just gonna fall into their chain pull combo. It's also really dumb that the chain pull ragdolls, because it's like you're already getting punished once when you get hit and punished again when you're pulled in, so why add the third punish of making it a free combo? Realistically, it should not work like that. Especially because this game is supposed to be non-stun or mini-stun based combat, it really shouldn't function like this. Also, a lot of this is made even worse because Ankle Splitter disables all forms of flash step and better mobility for 10 seconds, and it's a combo extender. So you're about to get hit with a spine rend into an ankle splitter, and then you're gonna fall into another combo 6 seconds later because you can't avoid it. And since spine rend counters hyper armor, there is pretty much no way to escape it, because any move you would use to escape combos with hyper armor get comboed by it. And ironically, it also has hyper armor. I mean, I hate Hakuda as a whole because most of the moves are parry checks, but a good Hakuda player will usually combo you for no less than 39.4 seconds. And what does the flying dragon hitbox look like? Because I will go for parries on it, and they'll land it before they're even close to me, so it's kind of hard to tell when to parry, so it just seems like my only option is to dodge it. But honestly, the main issue with Hakuda isn't damage or combos, it's the lack of distinct moves. If you've never used Hakuda, literally everything will look the same to you, because most of the moves and most of the animations are very similar to each other. This is bad because you're never going to know what moves are going out, so you're not going to know what timings you have to look out for parries and your opportunities to escape combos. Now, I've suggested this in the Discord, and I've heard people, Fineri, saying that giving it more distinct animations would be bad because then it would be too easy to parry, but no, it wouldn't, and you're just wrong, Fineri. I'm not saying that they should increase the wind-ups or make it easier to parry. I'm saying they should give the moves more distinct animations that will make it easier to tell which moves are being used. Because right now, if you have never used Hakuda, then you are not going to know what any of the moves look like, and you're basically free combos, which really isn't fair. And from a game design perspective, just make the moves unique in animation and more distinct, because it isn't fair the way things are right now. Next up, let's talk about Kendo. With the recent nerfs, I actually think Kendo is in a fine spot right now. The Flower Passage nerf was very much needed with it because being unparryable and unblockable meant that it forced a dodge. The problem with this at the time is that most people using Kendo are Soul Reapers and will use the Theater Shikai. And the Theater Shikai has another move called Kagioni, which is also a dodge-only move. Meaning if someone uses Flower Passage, feints it after you dodge, and uses Kagioni, you're a free combo. Realistically, you could win a fight using only Kagioni and Flower Passage before the nerf. But I do think it is fine now, so let's just move on to speed. Speed is kind of hard to talk about balancing because speed's biggest counter is actually speed itself, and I guess Quincy Hakuda, and any counter move as well, but we'll get to those later with Shikais. Speed is very strange because it actually functions very differently in ranked versus the overworld. Generally, unless you have a clan or some sort of extra Reiatsu stealing ability, you will run out of Reiatsu in ranked arena before you're even able to kill someone, unless you spend the whole fight running, which is boring and I refuse to do it. So I do, however, think Strata Strike needs a nerf right now. It's a very strange move and function, as it's the only move in the game which is completely unavoidable, because the only way to stop it is to hit the person using it on you. But if you just flash stepped away right after they did it, you get hit for free. I do have Strata Strike, but I don't really like to use it because it's too good and I need to spare people from fighting me with that because I already have a huge advantage being myself. Anyway, Strata Strike probably shouldn't teleport you so far away from someone because you aren't even in range for something like a Grimjow Claw crit or a 180 into a Sero because everything takes too long to charge up. This move is nearly uncounterable as the only way to dodge it is to flash step, cancel flash step, and non-flash step dodge at the perfect time to not get hit by Strata Strike. You can very rarely flash step dodge it, but it's not as reliable and you usually just get hit through it. Also, Fast Fang really didn't need any changes in the latest update, or at least not in the way that they did it. Flash Fang really just needs a consistent hitbox because sometimes I won't hit someone who I very clearly went through it with, and other times I'll hit people who I probably shouldn't have when using this move. And the way Spectre Step currently is, which is mid because it's literally only good for countering Hakuda if they're trying to stall you or fake outs, and I think we should probably lower the Reiatsu cost of Spectre Step just a little bit. The cooldown is fairly long and the move itself is actually pretty easy to parry because of how predictable it is right now. Because in the game right now, there's basically only two ways to parry: prediction-based parrying and timing-based parrying, which they're both kind of timing-based, but the way it works is you have moves like Spectre Step, which are timing-based. You see someone use the move, you parry at the right time to counter it. Those are moves that you can learn to parry over time. The other type of parries are prediction-based. With prediction-based parries, that goes under moves like, you know, all the Hakuda moves. And the reasoning for this is because in order to parry most moves in Type Soul, you don't parry the same way you would in Deep Woken. You don't parry right before something hits you. In Type Soul, if you want to parry something, you need to parry it before it hits you. So if someone is about to M1 you, you're supposed to press F during their startup, not when you're about to get hit, and that's how you parry an M1. And it's the same for everything in the game, which is why parrying something like a Sero is easy, because all you have to do is count to 3 and press F. But parrying M1s can be a bit inconsistent to some people, because you're actually supposed to press F during their windup, and that's how you're supposed to parry every move in the game, which is why the parrying is seen as inconsistent. But while we're at it, let's also nerf time cut startup time. Shouldn't be instant with the massive AoE it has. I really don't like time cut. Time cut's a very annoying move, and the fact that it also combos into the passive ability for speed, which teleports you behind someone who's blocking, basically just turns you into a free combo, because if someone uses time cut on you and you block the first 2 hits, and they teleport behind you, they're no longer in the stun that time cut has, so they're actually able to move stack it. So whatever you do, don't block time cut, and devs maybe make it so that way if you teleport because of blocks during time cut, you don't get removed from that cooldown. Let's move on to healing. It already got nerfed, but let's nerf the healing speed maximum because I still don't like people who use semi-healing builds for themselves, because you're scum and you run away in arena to heal yourself like a little bitch. Now let's move on to Shikais and their equivalents like partial resurrection and Shrift. First of all, I wanted to talk about confusion. People call it bad, but I don't think people realize it also has a 1-frame counter move. But not only that, the 1-frame counter on confusion is unique in the fact that landing the 1-frame counter refreshes it. So you basically have infinite combo escapes if you use your 1-frame counter in between any sort of combos at all. Confusion is pretty mid excluding the counter, so I think we should maybe nerf the counter and get it out of here and just either buff the other moves or let confusion be garbage, because barely anyone uses it anyway. But I might have just ungate kept confusion's counter. Let's now talk about Ice Shikai, another 1-frame counter that also just does way too much damage. I don't know why the devs nerfed Pressure Shift being a 1-frame counter, but not the other 4 moves that function nearly identically. So let's just go for a global counter nerf and nerf the startup on end lag on every other counter. Theater, Confusion, Pressure Shift, Ice. I guess not Pressure Shift because it was just nerfed, but can we also make it so countering certain moves at certain ranges won't work? There's no reason any of the counters in this game should be able to counter Stark's Buster, which is the partial resurrection Stark's dog move, because that move can be countered from across the map, and I will take like 1/3 of a bar of damage because I pressed C. That's just not fair. And speaking of theater, let's actually talk about lightning, because theater's actually fine right now with the flower passage nerf. Anyway, let's reduce the auto tracking range of pretty much all the lightning moves and maybe make it less passive. In the same way that you have to click on someone with the speed moves that auto target, we should make it a bit more like that for lightning, because you shouldn't be able to press X brainlessly and mindlessly and just auto track onto me, and they can just spam them for free as a Soul Reaper. I'm honestly tempted to talk about nerfing Lightning's Bankai damage, because out of all the Bankais and modes in the game, which I have fought all of them, I have noticed that Lightning Bankai actually does way more damage than all the other ones. It might just be because of the auto tracking, so I'm getting hit more, but I take way more damage against Lightning Bankai users than any other Bankai or res in the game. And Ink just shouldn't be disabling my moves for almost 10 seconds, so reduce the time on that down to like 4 to 5, maybe 6 seconds max, because 10 seconds is absolutely insane. I also didn't want to talk too much about weapons, but maybe nerf Dagger's swing speed or add more startup to its M1s, because I'm getting hit by it in the middle of my combos. I'm supposed to be fast, I use speed, but for some reason Dagger is out swinging me. That's stupid. Next up, let's just talk about some partial reses. First of all, Bone is easily like top 3 in the game right now, up there with Stark and maybe Light. It's kind of hard to say what the top 3 partials in the game are right now. So let's reduce the time I'm crippled for after being hit with literally any of its moves. Also, with the Bone Fragments move that summons the 2 skulls, sometimes parrying one will still let the other one hit you, and that just needs to be fixed, because occasionally I will parry one and then the other one will come super delayed, so I'll parry one, and while I'm in the stun for parrying the other, I'll get hit. And Vamp still needs a slight nerf. I know people are saying, oh, Vamp needs a buff now. First of all, no it doesn't. Phage is finally balanced, Payday is alright, but right now you can actually move stack Payday with the Echo Scream and Bite, meaning you can force someone to take the damage from the Bite, and you can force someone to take the entire damage of the Payday at the same time if you do it right. This is also completely uncounterable. I have tested it with a few friends who use Vamp. All you have to do is throw the Payday down, and as they're getting sucked in, go in for the Bite, and they take the damage from both, and there's nothing they can do about it. Unless they use like a move with some crazy hyper armor that somehow bypasses the Bite, but there aren't really a lot of those in the game right now. And I know a lot of people actually don't know about the Payday Echo move stack, so I'm sorry for potentially making this meta if you have to fight against this now. Next, let's go over some of the Schrifts. First of all, let's talk about Gluttony. Nerf the audio. It is still so insanely loud, and I don't know why they haven't fixed it. They might have tried to fix it because it's feeling less loud, but it is still really loud and deafening every time someone uses it on me. Visionary was actually recently nerfed in the meteor moves by about half its range, which I think is pretty cool because the range on it was crazy, so that's pretty fine. And overall, Schrifts are fine. I still don't like Visionary Meteors being a move stackable ability because they stun for like fucking 5 seconds, but overall, everything is kind of fine right now. However, we should nerf the particle effects on Fear, because every time I get hit by a Fear move, I can't see anything that's going on near my character because everything is covered in black and purple. And overall, just a lot of hitboxes need adjustments because basically every move in the game has either a delayed or faster hitbox than what the move looks like. A good example of this is Eviscerate on the faster side, and on the delay side, we have Fast Fang. So devs, just like get to work and rework every hitbox in the game. And honestly, you guys should probably just disable most forms of healing that aren't tree-based and ranked, because why are Vizards getting to heal for free? I think it's fine if you heal with the healing skill tree because that's what it's meant to do, it's part of your build. But the fact that Vizard, which is something practically everyone has nowadays, will still give you healing and a regeneration buff is really stupid and should probably be nerfed in ranked. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure to subscribe. I hope you all have an amazing day. I love you all. I love Type Soul. I am the goat of Type Soul, and all of you you have an amazing day. I love you. Just remember that I love you, and goodbye.